Senator Whitehouse thought he was too slick.
Director of National Intelligence, she's also the coordinator of something called the Weaponization Task Force. That's WTF. I mean, seriously.
In recent weeks, Democrats have ramped up their attacks against Tulsi, pushing one half-truth after another, but so far they're still struggling to outsmart her.
Excuse me, ma'am. If you want to ask the questions, you should have stayed in Congress.
I didn't ask you a question, sir. I'm trying to answer your question.
And today, we're telling you all about it. So let's jump right into it.
The search and seizure of the Fulton County election records. Now, with respect to the Director of National Intelligence, she's also the coordinator of something called the Weaponization Task Force, the Weaponization Working Group. I call it Weaponization Task Force because it's WTF. I mean, seriously. Why would you want to have the person who started and is a key part of this so-called weaponization group, which works secretively within the Trump administration, exposed to the examination of a defendant if charges are brought? Why would you want to open all of that up? It makes no sense. So when you add all of that up, you're faced with the question, was this the most incompetent search warrant ever? Then the big lie in that search warrant affidavit is that they were pursuing evidence of a crime.
I'm sure you saw the Fulton County raid that made headlines, all centered around the 2020 election ballots. It came after an FBI agent submitted an affidavit seeking a search warrant. And stay with me here, this is confusing. The search warrant said, if these deficiencies were the result of intentional action, it would be a violation of federal law, regardless of whether the failure to retain records or the deprivation of a fair tabulation of a vote was outcome determinative for any particular election or race. Now, the county tried to get the ballots back, but just last week, a judge ruled the DOJ could keep them, mainly because the county already had copies, and claims that they would be damaged really didn't hold much weight. But Democrats weren't happy about any of it, and they focused their attacks on Tulsi Gabbard, since she was present at the raid.
Director Gabbard, as was well covered yesterday in January, you were present at the execution of an FBI warrant at the Fulton County, Georgia election office at the direction of the president and to all appearances in connection with the president's false claims about the 2020 election. The unsealed affidavit submitted by the FBI made zero reference to foreign powers or outside interference. I don't want to relitigate the reasons why you were there, but I do want to know whether, as a result of your visit, there is credible intelligence in your possession pointing to foreign interference in Georgia in the 2020 election.
As you know, over each of the previous elections, there is an ongoing effort by different foreign entities.
Ma'am, it's a very specific question. Is there intelligence in your possession relative to foreign interference in the 2020 elections? Very simple, straightforward question.
We are continuing to look at previous attempts to interfere in our elections and any ongoing threats that may exist for the upcoming elections.
Okay.
Now, there's a reason Himes didn't want to relitigate the reasons why Tulsi was there. For starters, she was present at the raid under the president's direction. And since he can set the national security priorities, many argued she was simply carrying out that responsibility. On the other hand, Democrats pushed back, claiming the Director of National Intelligence's legal role is focused on foreign threats. And this move politicizes her position. So, like usual, both sides frame the law in whatever way best fits their narrative. But it's important to note that former DNIs have absolutely involved themselves in domestic matters before, like James Clapper with the initial Russiagate investigations, and the Democrats were more than fine with that. This time, they wanted to go after Tulsi, and this is how Senator Warner tried to land a gotcha, which only ended up backfiring. You gotta take a look.
Last year, when you were already confirmed, it mentioned it at high level. Are you saying there is no foreign threat to our elections in the midterms this year?
As I stated in the outset of my remarks, this year's annual threat assessment matches the prioritization of threats and
Please answer the question, yes or no. Is there foreign threat interference to our elections this year?
Laid out.
Are there foreign?
Please allow me to answer the question, sir. The intelligence community has been and continues to remain focused on any collection and intelligence products that show a potential foreign threat For those who are
So
seeking
far,
to
there has been none then, because you've made
in our
no
election
reports.
system.
Excuse me, ma'am. If you want to ask the questions, you should have stayed in Congress. Please answer the questions.
I didn't ask you a question, sir. I'm trying to answer your questions.
So you're saying the failure to provide any reports or the failure to have any mention of a foreign threat assessment, I would draw the conclusion there must be no foreign threat to our elections in 26.
For a party that constantly sounds the alarm over foreign interference and election integrity, Democrats had a clear chance to back stronger safeguards through the SAVE Act. Yet when the moment came, they chose to filibuster it instead. It's definitely something to think about. Another point is, a lot of these mundane questions in Congress is nothing short of political theater. I'd take it even further and describe it as a complete waste of time. Everyone already knows our adversaries are constantly looking for ways to influence our elections, especially now when a simple bot farm can coordinate online campaigns, which in turn can shape narratives across major platforms almost instantly. So instead of wasting public hearing time on obvious talking points, a far more serious approach would be to handle these discussions in classified settings. Even if Tulsi confirms it, all it does is give the country seeking to meddle in our system useful insight on how their operations are actually running. But this isn't something new for Gabbard. She actually talked about it years ago during an appearance on Bill Maher, and I think she made some solid points.
We have to take seriously the security of our elections because of the vulnerabilities that exist still now, that really have the ability to undermine our democracy. There's a hacking conference that's held every year in Las Vegas where I think a 14 or 15-year-old girl from Florida hacked into a replica of Florida's election system in less than 15 minutes. There are too many states in this country who still don't use any type of paper ballot or have any paper record of the votes that are cast. So when you think about whether it's a foreign country or a rogue actor or a high school student who's going in with the intent of manipulating the outcome of the votes that we cast, that is the true danger to our democracy and to our election. The problem is that whether it's Republicans in leadership or Democrats in leadership, they're talking about how much they care about the security of our elections, but they've failed to do anything about it. They've failed to pass my legislation or other people who've introduced similar pieces of legislation. It's all talk.
Exactly. The thing is, the second Democrats saw anything tied to the 2020 election narrative, they wasted zero time launching a coordinated push to turn public opinion against Tulsi and pile pressure on the administration. Their end goal was obvious: make her politically toxic enough that replacing her would seem easier than defending her. But what really seems to bother them is that Tulsi just crossed the aisle. She stepped outside their political machine and is actually proving good in her role as the Director of National Intelligence. In other words, for a party that thrives on controlling and micromanaging its members, that kind of defiance clearly hit a nerve.